Okay, hello and welcome to another episode of Earthworks Hub. I'm your host Ivan Orlovic, and with me today I have Jim from JR Safety.
That's right. Yeah, thanks very
Mm.
much for having us on board here, Ivan.
Yeah,
Appreciate the opportunity to have a chat with you.
no worries, thank you. So I think our main topic today will be about risk assessments, and I know a lot of guys in our industry get the risk assessment just because they think it's just what they need, but I don't know if they actually understand what it is and why we actually do it. So it's probably good to go through all that, and then we can talk about your company and what services that you offer as well.
Yeah, sure. Yep. No
All right.
worries at all.
Like I was saying a bit earlier, a lot of guys probably don't understand why we do risk assessments and that. Can you give us, a bit of an idea of why we actually have to do it and the benefits of doing it?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Probably the understanding of a risk assessment is the most important part of it, rather than just, there's a lot there, it's just ticking that box to help get their machine on site.
Yeah.
But basically, the risk assessment is that it will highlight any risks and hazards associated with the actual machine. And then when you're conducting it, you'll be checking for things like leaks or make sure guards are in place, making sure certain, like, might be the ROP structure, rollover protection structure, is compliant to Australian standards. There's obviously a safety standard for machinery, making sure that the machine complies with that. And then the basically it's highlighting to the operator as well at a high level where the risks and hazards are with the machine. So it doesn't negate the need still to do your swims and JSAs, which is would still need to be carried out for each and every particular task on site. But it's at a high level highlighting what is required for the risks and hazards and associated with that machine.
All right.
That,
So
does that make sense?
yeah,
Sorry, in a
yeah.
bit of a jumbled way.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So I suppose it's just all about minimizing or eliminating the risks that you identify, when you assess the machine.
Yeah, correct. So you always obviously follow the hierarchy of control. Obviously, eliminations at the top of the list there to try and eliminate it if you can. But if there's ways you can reduce that risk and hazard to the personnel at the end of the day that's trying to make it as safe environment as possible for the operator and those around you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, so how often do you have to do these risk assessments?
The risk assessment um, needs to be done when obviously in sale of a machine. That's a mandatory requirement. But as far as renewing, it's recommended to reviewed every 12 months. That is not mandatory. In saying that, a lot of sites won't allow it if you haven't had it reviewed in that every 12 months. So they'll want you to review it. And the other thing is, if something then obviously happens with the machine, whether you've tipped it on its side or um, you've modified it, maybe put a new hitch on an excavator. That's where you'd need to conduct another risk assessment on it to obviously ensure that everything is compatible and complies.
So yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the industry?
Yeah, so I started the business basically at the start of COVID. My father was originally a plumber in irrigation, um, and then the other side of my family were landscapers, and they moved into um, dry hire machinery now. But basically, yeah, saw there was a bit of a need in the industry to number one for doing a third party risk assessment on machinery for when you've had a modification or even just renewing a risk assessment, but also um, with safety coming a priority across a number of, well, pretty much all sites, construction sites now, um, and every procedure improving, each builder working to um, basically be at the forefront with their safety practices. We basically saw there was a need there, and that's how I've obviously done a Cert 4 in OH&S and a number of other safety courses. So, and with the experience with machinery, dabbling in machinery from early childhood, well, I always wanted to get back and play on a digger again, and figured that as you get older, that's not always can keep doing that. So yeah, that's how we pretty much saw the need for in the safety side of things, and yeah, jumped in.
And what about employees and stuff like? Have you got some guys working for you? Or
Yeah, so we've got another plant inspector who's a mechanic that works for us, and then we've got a graphic designer who runs a lot of our printing, and then an admin person as well, and then obviously myself. Which yeah, so we're a fairly small, nimble team, but continuing to look to grow with adding additional things that we can pretty much help the civil contractor or hire companies in their safety practices pretty much, and help them getting on the site, making sure they're working in a safe manner, and then obviously at the end of the day, everyone's goal to go home safely.
so, what sort of machinery or equipment do you mainly sort of find yourself working on?
Yeah, so mainly we focus on obviously civil construction. So it's earth moving, so mobile plant, whether it be excavators, graders, skid steers, loaders, etc. But basically mobile plant, and for the civil construction industry is where we concentrate on.
And what are your typical clients? You know, are they like smaller sort of owned operators or big, large sort of companies?
A bit of a mix on that. There's we got small owner operator civil contractors that might be um, in the main, that's when they're transitioning from maybe doing residential work to getting into commercial, and then we do a lot for hire companies, um, and then OEMs as well. So like Clark equipment and that kind of thing, bringing in equipment into Australia. So before they go out to their customers, we conduct the risk assessments of a third party for them.
If I want to get a risk assessment done, what's the actual process for that?
Yeah, no worries. So if you have a machine and wanting to get your a risk assessment done, the general process would be either to just give us a call, or you can do an inquiry through the website, send us an email, whatever makes it easy. You can do it through social media. Doesn't worry us. We'll respond to it promptly, and basically we will arrange a time with you to come out, and we need approximately the machine for about, and depending on the size of the machine, but anywhere between sort of 45 minutes to an hour or so. And that's basically it. We will, from that point, guide you as far if there's anything that needs to be done to the machine. If there's something that we can fix for you at the time, we will also offer that. And if it's something that's a bit further more than what we can assist with, we'll obviously work with you to get that rectified as well.
All right. And then, so what do you do? Do you just like send out the risk assessment later or something, or do we give it to them on the spot?
No, so at the time, we will place a QR code on the actual machine, which will give you, anyone can download a copy of the risk assessment at any time. You just got to enter the serial number of that particular machine. We also print a hard copy of the risk assessment out on the spot, and give that to you, not just email. I mean, we do email it as well after at that time as well. But the reason we don't just email it is because a lot of sites will still want you to have the actual physical hard copy of the risk assessment with you with the machine, and they'll want the operator to sign on. There's a sign-on page at the back of the risk assessment saying that they have read and acknowledged the risk assessment.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of sites will ask me for a copy of it, and I'll go and photocopy it and then come back. I've had sites that wouldn't let me on because my risk assessment was out of date, so I had to like wait until an assessor came out and quickly did an on-site assessment for me. So yeah, they're
Yep.
pretty strict, some sites. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
we do find that a lot with with contractors that are just getting into the commercial, I guess, civil construction, where they haven't probably, other than probably the risk assessment they've got from when they bought the machine, they haven't ever been asked for it. Obviously, doing residential work, but as soon as you start going for any accreditations like your ISO or AS 4501, that will be where they'll request, and obviously commercial sites will request the risk assessment and it obviously to being up to date.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you say you do on site, I suppose. Yeah, you don't have to actually bring your machine in anywhere. You were saying earlier you actually come out.
No. So we offer both. So we obviously got vehicles fully kitted up to come out to site, but we also do get it where some people will drop their machine or truck at our premises here in Knoxfield, and we can do it on the spot here. That sometimes some of those situations are where we might be also putting in some other control measures like lockable isolators or emergency stops for the machine.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So you were saying earlier you do offer more than just risk assessments. So you can do other stuff as well.
Yeah, correct. So obviously the risk assessment is only one part of the process. There's certain controls that some sites will be obviously site specific, but they will require to be on your machine. Things like a red lockable isolator. You might have an isolator, but they want it to be lockable, so it can be locked out. There might be things like emergency stop buttons to be fitted on the machine, so that you can be accessed from the ground, and you can hit the emergency stop button, and as well as one in the cabin. There might be things like fire extinguishers to be fitted to the machine. Typically, they'll always come with one, at least one, but some sites will require an external fire extinguisher. Maybe normally it'll be a little bit larger, depending on the size. It always depends on the size of the machine. Even reversing cameras. So we do all that in-house, and we stock them here in Knoxville.
All right. And what about like stickers and that? Like I've seen sometimes it says, beware crushing point and this and that. Do you do those things as well?
Yeah, correct. So we got our own printing machine. And we also carry those stickers in our vehicles. So you can jump online. We've actually got an online store as well for as far as safety decals and unit numbers, logos, etc. So we can do that all in house with that's what our graphic designer mainly looks after. But we also, when we're doing a risk assessment, typically if we find that some of those stickers are rubbed off or worn off, disappeared, we will offer to replace them on the spot. It saves the contractor going and chasing down, trying to find the stickers. Then he's got to go back out and fit them to his machine. It's just basically trying to make it as easy as possible for the contractor. So we do also carry in our vehicles things like fire extinguishers. We are certified to tag the fire extinguishers for them. We carry pre-start books. Another common thing that will be asked for is, have you done your pre-start on your machine? And the builders will ask for a copy of it. Document satchels, just simple little things to keep everything neat and tidy. We carry that all within our vehicles as well as what we stock here.
And what about like, do you remind people that their assessment is due? Because I know that I usually have like a little sticker on mine, and sometimes I forget to look at it. Have you got like another process, or do you do the same sort of thing?
So obviously that QR code sticker we put on the machine, every machine we do, will have the date that the risk assessment was conducted along with the report number. But once we have done a risk assessment for anyone that goes into our system, you'll get a reminder 11 months from the date that the risk assessment was done, let you know that it's coming up be renewed, and then you'll get another further reminder a couple of weeks before. Normally this is an email reminder, and then as it's come pretty close to due or overdue, we'll give you a call just to make sure you're aware that it is due, and if you want to book it in, we'll obviously arrange then to book it in to get it renewed for you.
Yeah, no, that's good, because I know I often don't realise I need one until it's after the date, when someone's asked me for it.
No, that's exactly right. We get that a bit where someone was saying, we got a risk assessment done a couple of years ago, but I've totally forgotten about it. And basically we try to make it a little bit foolproof in the sense that you get that reminder so that you don't come unstuck and turn up on site the second time with forgetting that it's gone overdue. It is a bit of a common problem. And the other thing we do come up is that some will obviously push it out as long as possible before they actually do get it renewed. But obviously we try to respond to these sorts of inquiries as quick as possible, but if we are a bit more proactive rather than reactive, it makes it easier for us, and obviously easier for the actual contractor.
Yeah, true. What are some of the challenges that you face with what you're doing?
Probably some of the things some of the challenges we face is that there will be varying requirements across different sites. But what we try to do is alert the contractor as to different needs and find out a little bit more about what work they're doing, and then be almost give them the heads up if, like, they're going onto for example, a tier 1 project for the government, what some of the requirements they'll need to add on to their machine, rather than obviously getting a risk assessment and then going there and finding that, hey, this site requires you to add this, and this to it. We try to give you the heads up at the time, ahead of the time, so that you're not caught out, basically. When people will modify a machine, a very common one is that, for an example, they might change the hitch over to a quick hitch or a tilt. Basically, it won't align with the load chart inside the actual excavator. So the load chart might tell you the safe working load and the dynamic load, but it actually doesn't have any references to the hitch. And some of the sites will pick you on that and won't let you use it for any lifting or etc. So we also offer that service in-house, so we can do a new load chart for the machine, which will cover obviously the current hitch and serial numbers and etc. on it.
I suppose I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I suppose every time you make an adjustment, you're changing the workload, so it makes sense.
The other thing to note is that probably what we touched on earlier about being proactive on renewing your risk assessment. It's same with your servicing of your actual machine. They'll ask, typically these commercial sites will ask for you for the last maybe 1 or 2 service documents, and showing that you're obviously maintaining your machine and is currently up to date with its services. It's the same thing really. It's making sure everything is maintained so that you don't, end of the day, get to site and then you get held up because there's certain things that haven't been done.
What's one of the things that you, I suppose, like about your job and what you do?
I guess what we enjoy most is being out and about with machinery. Personally, I love being around machinery. But the other thing is you're helping, really, at the end of the day, helping people go home safely at the end of the day. Finish work, their machine's in good working order, everyone around them is safe.
How do you see the future of Earthworks going with in regards to what you do?
Yeah, so with the future for risk assessments and the safety practices is obviously on the increase. Everyone is typically looking to ways to always make things safer. And while probably in the past risk assessments have been, I guess, not neglected wouldn't be the right word, but not a high priority. And it's the attitude of just we get in and get the job done and get out. And the quicker we do that, the better. Rather than thinking, well, if something does happen, well, then actually it's going to be a far bigger cost than just taking a step back and taking the safe away. So I believe the future for safety is on the increase. A role really what we got to play is that we've got to try and make it easy for the civil contractor to understand and also to carry out these procedures so that it's not basically too encumbersome for them to take control of and become a too big a thing that they'll just brush it aside.
So you guys are, obviously I forgot to say earlier, you're in Victoria. Do you just service just Victoria, or do you go like national or anything?
We do have a couple of clients we do interstate, but in the main we concentrate on Victoria. We do, the future plans for the business is to set up a branch in New South Wales, but with Victoria we travel wherever the need is. There's some customers we travel all over the state based on wherever their machines might be located. But yeah, our main for the risk assessments part of it is we concentrate on Victoria with the future plan to expand into the other states.
All right, cool. And for any listeners that want to get in touch, what's some of the ways they can get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, so the best way to get in touch is either simply just give us a call, and I know a lot of people just still like to use the phone call, which is always great to hear a voice on the other end. Otherwise, you feel free to reach out through the website, send us an email. We obviously got our socials, Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook. You can fire us a message through on that, which is obviously just search up JRSafetyCo, and we'll be very glad to hear from you, and we'll be glad to assist in which way we can with your safety needs. We've got the online store, which has got all your safety products, whether it's reflective tape, your safety stickers, sticker kits, your fire extinguishers, wheel chocks, wheel nut indicators, first aid kits, etc. They all stocked here, but we can ship Australia wide, so it doesn't matter where you are, we'll get it to you. Feel free to jump on the online store and check that out. One of the things is that some of these guys go, well, where do I get some of this stuff from? And then they've got to try and find an auto elect to supply some of the things. I find a sticker place to get the sticker. They've got to go somewhere else to get a fire extinguisher, somewhere else to get a wheel nut indicators or something, somewhere else to get a first aid kit. If they can get it all from the one place, it makes it easier for them. So
yeah, it's good that you provide that service, then, because it's true. Yeah, I've had in the past where they've told me my extinguisher's out of date, and I'm trying to find out where do I get my extinguisher done, where do I do this, and then like you say, if you do it all, it's a no brainer.
Yeah, that's probably really another point, but it's what we do for a number of contractors is that we save them really from getting a number of contractors out to work on their machine. For an example, might be they've got a generator, they need a risk assessment on it, but they also need the fire extinguisher tagged, but they also need the RCDs to be inspected and tagged, and then they also need a pre-start book placed with it. They need the risk assessment, need the manual. All those items we can sort it all out for them at the time on the spot. Even if it's missing the manual, we can print it out for them and bind it and put it in with the machine.
Oh, that's good, very good.
So the thing is if it's in one sense it saves them 3 or 4 different call out fees of different contractors to service just one piece of equipment.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, that's good because, like you were saying before, downtime. If they can't start work until it's done, then they're sitting there not getting paid. So might as well get it all done with the one person. Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on, Jim.
No, I appreciate it, Ivan. No, thanks very much for having us, and we look forward to making the civil construction industry a safer community, and also making it easier for the civil contractor to get on site and get their job done in a safe and efficient manner.
So yeah, hopefully all the listeners here now, you've learned a bit more about risk assessments, why we do them, how often we have to do them. You've got an option now. If you need to get one done, come down, just give the guys at JR Safety a call. And yeah, just ensure that your machines are operating safely. These sites are getting a lot stricter with these risk assessments. So just make sure that your one is up to date. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you on the next one.